Flower Formula 11 Hawthorn formula. The key word of this formula is heartache. The very, very powerful aspect of grief, sorrow, sadness. These emotions are very, very deep, and they affect us all whenever we lose somebody we love very much. Grief is a very disturbing and distressing situation because it's difficult sometimes to recover. We feel grief-struck when we love somebody very much and we lose them. But there's another aspect to this formula which is very important indeed, and that is that it helps to support the person who is the carer. So many people in modern society are carers. You could be a mother of a very sick child, an ongoing situation which doesn't really resolve itself very quickly. You could be nursing a sick parent, or taking care of an elderly or disturbing, distressing friend who's not well, and you're the only surviving friend that you may be taking care of them then. So caring for people is very, very important, but it's a huge burden sometimes. And really and truly, this is one of the reasons why this formula is so special. And that word special is important too, because we often say that this is the formula for special people. Grief is very different from loss through rejection and cruelty. Grief tends to be something that we experience when there is a sadness, a deep, deep sadness of loss. Frankly speaking, one of the most interesting aspects of grief is that it renders our hearts to not really function as well as they ought to. Sadness and emotional tragedies impact on the human body, and grief impacts on the heart. So it's hardly surprising that we call this formula heartache. One of the interesting aspects of Flower Formula 11 Hawthorn is that it's a very powerful antidote to a rather nasty toxin called mercury. Mercury is very dangerous. It affects the brain, it affects the heart, it affects the nervous system. It affects many different aspects of our health. And unfortunately, there is mercury present in many different situations. Not only toxic environmental pollution, but of course fillings and also, sadly, vaccinations. They also contain mercury. But this formula is particularly important to help us whenever we're sad. And I must confess that when we are traumatized and grief-struck, we tend to become much more prone to becoming poisoned by mercury. Really, there is a great deal to talk to you about this formula, but if you'd like to know more about it, please look at our website, or please don't hesitate to contact us.